I torched the only home I'd ever known on the night my brother announced his wedding. Flames licking the sky like the devil's own applause while my parents screamed my name from the driveway. Too late to save their precious secrets from the inferno. Apologize? For what? Carrying their sins like a goddamn scapegoat for 15 years. While they polished their golden boy into a saint, I didn't just leave. I erased them, vanishing into the turquoise abyss of the Indian Ocean, where the water's so clear it shows every scar you've ever hidden. And I finally started digging up theirs. It started in the sticky summer of '09, back when I was just a wide-eyed kid in suburban Ohio. The kind of place where everyone knows your business but pretends they don't. Our house on Elm Street was the picture of Midwest normalcy. White picket fence, two-car garage, Dad grilling burgers on the 4th of July like he was auditioning for a beer commercial. Mom baked apple pies that won ribbons at the county fair. And my brother, Tommy, was the quarterback who could do no wrong.
Me?
Alice, the quiet one, the fixer, the girl who faded into the wallpaper because shining too bright meant getting burned. But that summer, everything cracked open like a fault line under the cul-de-sac. Tommy was 17, invincible in his Letterman jacket, sneaking out for parties that ended with him behind the wheel of Dad's old Ford, half a six-pack deep. I was 14, already taller than him, but somehow smaller in their eyes, tagging along because he promised I'd get to meet his friends. "Come on, Al," he'd say, ruffling my hair like I was still in pigtails. "You're my shadow, right?" That night, the roads were slick with rain, the kind that turns taillights into smeared red halos. We were coming back from some bonfire bash out by the quarry, Tommy laughing too loud. Passing me a warm beer, I pretended to sip just to fit in. Then he swerved. Just a twitch. Really? But enough to clip the guardrail. Send us spinning into the ditch. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. And I woke up in the hospital with a gash on my forehead and the metallic tang of blood in my mouth. Tommy? He walked away with a sprained ankle and a story he'd spin into legend. But there was more. A car in that ditch with us, a minivan, flipped like a discarded toy. Inside, the Harrisons, neighbors who'd waved at us every morning on their walk to the bus stop. Mr. Harrison, dead on impact. His wife and their little girl, Emily, 8 years old. Seatbelt no match for physics, both critical. Emily didn't make it. The headlines screamed, "Teen driver in fatal crash," and the town turned on us like we'd poisoned the well. I remember the cops in our kitchen, Dad's face gray as ash, Mom clutching her rosary like it could rewind time. Tommy was upstairs, catatonic, but they didn't question him first.
No.
They hauled me into the station because I'd been in the passenger seat, the sober one, the one who could string sentences together without slurring. "Alice," the detective said, his voice like gravel. "You were driving, weren't you? Protecting your brother." I wasn't.
God.
I swear I wasn't. But Dad pulled me aside in the hallway, his grip on my arm bruising, eyes wild with something darker than fear, calculation. "Listen to me,
Kiddo.
Tommy's got scholarships, a future. Football's his ticket out.
You.
You're smart, but you're nobody. Say you were driving. We'll get you a lawyer. Community service. It'll blow over." Mom nodded through tears, whispering about family, about sacrifice, about how I'd be the hero who owned up.
Hero.
What a joke. I did it. I lied to the judge, to the DA, To Emily's ghost-haunted family, who glared at me in court like I was the devil incarnate. Manslaughter charge. Reduced to vehicular homicide with a plea. 2 years probation. License gone till I'm 21. And a record that followed me like a shadow.
Tommy?
He got a slap on the wrist, contributing to the delinquency of a minor and a parade float at homecoming. Our boy's resilient, Dad would say at barbecues, clapping Tommy on the back while I scrubbed grill grates in the background. The secret festered. I buried it deep, told myself it was for love, for the family that had always put Tommy on the pedestal. High school blurred into college at Ohio State, community college first, because who trusts a killer with loans, where I majored in accounting, numbers as clean and unforgiving as confessions. I dated a guy named Jake for a year, thought maybe normalcy was possible. But every time headlights flashed in the rearview, ideflin, tasting that rain-slick road.
Tommy?
Meanwhile, ascended. Ohio U on a full ride, then a desk job in Cleveland at some finance firm, schmoozing his way up. He married Sarah in 18, a bubbly sorority girl with a trust fund and a laugh like wind chimes. I was the aunt who sent generic cards, showed up to baby showers with booties I'd knitted myself because Mom guilt me into it. Family first. Alice, she'd say on those rare calls. Her voice syrupy over the line from Akron, where they'd downsized after Dad's early retirement, but cracks showed. Tommy started calling less. Sarah's posts on Facebook all filtered perfection, yacht weekends in Miami.
His promotion to VP. Me?
Stuck in a cubicle in Columbus, crunching ledgers for a logistics firm that treated me like the indentured help. Then, last Christmas, 24, right before the wedding buzz hit, Tommy drops the bomb at the family dinner. We're crammed into Mom and Dad's split level, turkey drying out under the heat lamps, when he stands up, clinking his glass like he's toasting the apocalypse. Big news, he says, grinning that quarterback flash. Sarah and I are getting hitched in June.
Maui.
Invite only. And,
Alice.
He trails off, glancing at Sarah, who looks like she'd rather be anywhere else. We need to talk about that old thing. The crash. My fork freezes midair. The room goes tomb silent, save for the tick of the cuckoo clock Dad refuses to wind. Mom's smiling too tight. Dad's pushing peas around his plate. Tommy leans in, voice low like we're sharing war stories. Look. Cease. It's been 15 years. Time to let it go. Apologize to Sarah's folks, they're coming. Big donors, and we'll call it square. You're in the wedding.
Or.
You're not. Apologize. To the family of the girl I supposedly killed, the one whose parents still send me hate mail on anniversaries. And signed but unmistakable. With Emily's school photo clipped inside, for a lie that chained me to regret while Tommy built his empire on my silence. I laughed. Not a nice laugh, the kind that echoes like breaking glass. Apologize? For what? Tommy? Driving a car I never touched? For the manslaughter rap you dodged because Dad said it'd ruin your shot at glory. The table erupts. Mom gasps. Hand to her pearls. Dad slams his fist. Veins bulging. Ungrateful. We protected you. Gave you a second chance. Protected me? They sacrificed me. Turned their daughter into a pariah so their son could play hero. Tommy's face twists. First shock. Then, that sly pivot. The one he's mastered since Pee Wee League. Come on.
Al.
It was an accident. We all made mistakes. But dragging it up now? That's on you. Sarah's whispering in his ear, her eyes darting to the door like I'm contagious. And that's when it hits. The wedding's not just vase, it's erasure. Their perfect narrative, laundered clean, with me as the stain they can't bleach out. Apologize, Tommy repeats. Softer now. Manipulative velvet. Or don't come. Family's about moving forward. Right? I stood up, chair scraping like a verdict. Grabbed my coat. The one with the frayed cuffs from too many overtime shifts. Forward, I echoed.
Ta stinkbire.
Like you did when you let me rot in juvie psych evals while you scored touchdowns?
Sure.
Consider me moved. I walked out into the snow, the kind that muffles screams, and drove straight to the airport. Not Columbus International, too traceable. I hit a cash machine first, withdrew every cent from the joint account Mom insisted on for emergencies, irony's a bitch, then bought a one-way to Miami on a burner card. From there, a red-eye to mail. Maldives. Because if you're vanishing, go tropical. Go untraceable. No direct flights from the States. No paper trail. Just me, a duffel with yoga pants and spite, and the kind of resolve that simmers for a decade before it boils over. The flight was purgatory, 18 hours of recycled air and regret reruns. I stared at the safety card, picturing Emily's face from the news clippings I'd hoarded in a shoebox. Was this revenge? Or just flight? By the time the seaplanes skimmed those atoll lagoons, turquoise bleeding into infinity, I knew both. I'd cut them off, but not quietly. I'd exhume the truth, let it rot their fairy tale from the roots. First stop, a thatched hut resort on a sliver of island called Vila. The kind where influencers pose, but I blended. Anonymous in linen and lies. No Wi-Fi in the room, deliberate. I paid cash for a month, told the manager I was a writer on sabbatical. Escaping the grind, I said, and he nodded like he got it. Mornings, I'd snorkel with reef sharks, their eyes cold and knowing, mirroring the calculations churning in my gut. Afternoons, yoga on the deck, twisting my body into poses that screamed release. Nights, that's when the real work began. I bought a cheap laptop from a duty-free in mail, set up a VPN routed through Singapore, untraceable, or close enough. First email, anonymous, to the Akron Beacon Journal. 2009 quarry crash, exclusive documents. Attached, scans of Dad's old checkbook stubs. Payments to a shady lawyer who handled the plea. Tommy's juvie file I'd swiped years ago from the attic crawlspace. Even an audio clip from that Christmas dinner. My voice cracking on the lie they'd built. The story dropped a week later. Fatal crash cover-up. Local family's dark secret exposed. Quotes from me? None. Just facts. Cold and cutting, with redactions to shield my name. But they knew. Mom's frantic voicemail hit my burner phone at dawn. Alice Marie. What have you done? Tommy's devastated. The wedding's ruined. Devastated. Like the Harrisons weren't. Bearing a child because my brother couldn't keep it between the lines. Tommy called next. Voice all charm and venom. Cease. This isn't you. Come home. We'll fix it. Apologize. And it's water under the bridge. I let it ring to silence. Then blocked the lot. But I wasn't done. Next, social media purge. I hacked Tommy's wedding registry, easy, shared password from childhood, and listed every gift as donated to Crash Victims Fund. RSVPs? I spoofed declines from half the guest list. Citing moral inventory. Sarah's bridal shower in Cleveland? Canceled when the venue got an anonymous tip about pending litigation. It felt good. That first rush, like lancing a boil after years of pressure. But dark.
2.
I'd catch my reflection in the lagoon, eyes hollowed by jet lag and jet black intent, wondering if I was saving myself or just becoming them. The resort staff started whispering. The American ghost, they called me. The one who wandered beaches at midnight, collecting shells like evidence. 2 weeks in, the twist hit like a rogue wave. 8 email pings. Not from family, but from Jake, my ex from college. The one who'd bailed when my record surfaced during a background check for his law firm internship. Saw the article. Holy shit.
Alice.
Call me. I did. From a beach bar. Salt-rimmed margarita, sweating in the humidity. He'd gone straight edge after me. Law degree from Case Western. Now a junior prosecutor in Summit County. Your parents, he said, voice hushed like a confessional. They're countersuing the paper for defamation, claiming it's all fabricated. But I pulled the originals, your plea docs. Tommy was the driver.
All right.
Signed statement from the EMT, who treated you first. Buried in evidence lockup. My heart jackhammered. Why tell me now? Because, he paused, the line crackling like old vinyl. The wedding's tomorrow. And your dad subpoenaing you as a hostile witness. Says you'll recant if you show. But there's more. Tommy's firm? They're laundering for some real estate scam. I stumbled on it chasing leads. You're vanishing? It's the best thing you ever did. Laundering. The final betrayal. Piled on the crash, like insult on injury.
Tommy?
Not just a reckless kid, but a full-blown crook, using the family shield I'd forged in blood. I hung up, stared at the horizon where sky bled into sea, and booked a flight, not home, but to Maui. Uninvited?
Fine.
I'd crash at my way. The rehearsal dinner was at some luau kitsch joint on the Wailea coast. Tiki torches flickering like false promises. I slipped in through the service entrance. Black dress hugging curves I'd earned from hate-fueled runs. Hair pinned like a noose. No makeup, let them see the raw me. The Alice they'd discarded. The pavilion thrummed with laughter. Tommy at the head table in a linen suit, Sarah glowing beside him. Mom air-kissing socialites who'd pretend ignorance come Monday. I waited till the toasts, Dad droning about legacy. Tommy's eyes glassy with my ties, then stepped into the light. Glass of pineapple juice raised like a Molotov. To family, I called, voice slicing the din. Heads turned, gasps rippling. Tommy's face drained to parchment. Alice, Mom hissed, half rising. This isn't appropriate, I finished, smile sharp as coral. Like letting your daughter take the fall for vehicular homicide so your son could chase the Lombardi? Or maybe like the money laundering that's got half his board sweating embezzlement charges. Chaos erupted, forks clattering. Sarah sobbing into her napkin. Dad lunged, but security, hired for the VIPs, held him back. Tommy, ever the flipper, went from rage to reason in a blink. She's lying, distraught, lost her job, cracking up. But the whispers spread. Phones out. Liv tweeting the meltdown.
Jake's tip had leaked wider, sirens wailed distant. En route.
I didn't run. Stood there as the Harrison's surviving kin, Mrs.
Ash,
who'd aged into a specter, approached. Eyes wet, but steady. You were just a girl, she whispered. Hand on my arm. We know now. Forgive us. The plea hung, divisive as a jury hung. Forgive? For believing the lie? Or condemn Tommy, the brother-eyed shielded, now exposed as the architect of our ruin? Cops swarmed then, cuffing Dad for obstruction. Turns out he'd bribed that EMT years back. Tommy bolted for the dunes, Sarah trailing, but not before he locked eyes with me. You destroyed us.
Ow.
For what? Karma? Maybe. Or justice? Served cold as Maldives midnight. In the end, the wedding never happened. Sarah filed annulment papers from a hotel in Honolulu. Tommy holed up in a Cleveland lockup awaiting trial. Irony's encore. The golden boy in orange. Mom, she wrote once. From a nursing home Dad's assets couldn't touch. Come home.
Alice.
Apologize. And we'll heal. I burned it on Vila Beach. Ashes scattering like confetti. Back in Columbus now. 6 months post-meltdown. I run a small firm, Victims Restitution. Pro bono for crash survivors.
Jake?
We're circling something tentative. Coffee dates laced with what-ifs.
The twist?
Emily's Foundation. Funded by Tommy's seized accounts. Thrives. I visit the memorials sometimes. Lay flowers. Whisper to the stone. It wasn't me. But late nights, when the city's hum mimics rain on tin, I wonder, was I the villain? Exhuming graves for spite? Or the savior? Freeing us all from the lie? Readers, hell. Even me, were split down the middle. Debating over whiskey whether revenge mends or just multiplies the scars. And honestly, in America's heartland grind, where secrets pay mortgages and family means whatever keeps the lights on, maybe that's the real hook. No one's clean. But someone's got to draw the line.